Tonight, millions of people in the path of severe weather right in the middle of the holiday weekend. A line of storms marching across the country, threatening to upend the holiday weekend travel rush. A system bringing punishing hailstorms and spawning massive tornadoes like these. Tonight, millions from Texas to the Northeast are under threat. We are watching it all. The White House facing pushback as massive protests across the country against President Trump and his second-term agenda, including this one in Washington. And the Supreme Court intervenes in the case of accused gang members from Venezuela temporarily blocking their deportation from this Texas facility. Putin's surprise move as Russia declared a truce in its war with Ukraine. And tonight, Ukraine's president responding to the unexpected peace effort. Could this lead to a longer pause in fighting? Coming to grips with a tragedy, anger and grief on the campus of Florida State University after that deadly shooting there. What we're learning about the suspected gunman as his mother speaks out. Fighting crime from your front porch. Police using a new crime-fighting tool, your doorbell camera.
We're seeing more frequent apprehensions and faster apprehensions of suspects.
How it works and what you should know about your privacy. And 30 years later, remembering the victims and the heroes of the Oklahoma City bombing.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the severe storm system that could very well disrupt the holiday weekend for millions of Americans. That system responsible for creating tornadoes like this one in Iowa, as well as this one in Nebraska, with bolts of lightning shooting from it. And take a look at this. Parts of Wisconsin pummeled by large hail. This system now moving east, taking aim at some 24 million people from Texas to New York during what is expected to be a busy holiday travel weekend. And forecasters are facing a unique challenge with this system because they're missing a critical tool to help track it. Maggie Vespa is covering it all and starts us off tonight.
Tonight, a multi-day stretch of violent spring weather carries on with a tornado reported in Texas. This after days of dangerous weather with large hail hammering parts of Wisconsin Friday, a late season snow causing this pileup in Colorado, and an EF3 tornado damaging more than 30 homes near Omaha, Nebraska. Also, new video showing Thursday's stunning 3,000-yard wide tornado in Iowa, the widest ever recorded in that state. The severe weather risk stretching through tomorrow, with more than 11 million Americans facing potential storms from Texas to Illinois. Meanwhile, meteorologists sounding alarms about their forecasts following federal staffing cuts by the Trump administration.
Unfortunately, we had to stop launching the weather balloons.
The National Weather Service confirming in a notice this week they're scaling back the use of weather balloons, launched twice daily from close to 100 sites nationwide to gather critical weather data from the atmosphere. Multiple meteorologists outside the agency tell NBC News some forecasts already seem less detailed.
It's concerning that we don't have as much data as we could.
We could see worse forecasts for severe weather. That does increase the risk to the general public.
Tonight, parent agency NOAA pushing back, saying through strategic transformation, staff reallocation, and updated service standards, the National Weather Service is ensuring resilience and continuity of mission-critical functions, adding reports suggesting otherwise are false and disrespectful.
Maggie Vespa joins us live from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. Maggie, these storms are hitting during a really major travel weekend.
Yeah, Jose, that's right. We're talking about Easter holiday travel in addition to the spring break rush. And as these storms fire up tonight, delays nationwide are soaring into the thousands. Jose.
Maggie Vespa in Chicago, thank you. In what has become an almost regular weekend event, massive protests once again popped up in major cities across the country today. People rallying against President Trump and his agenda. It comes after the Supreme Court stepped in early this morning to halt a new round of deportations. Vaughn Hilliard has more.
Tonight, protests across the country, from Denver to Midtown Manhattan. To right outside the White House, people voicing anger at the Trump administration, including over its recent immigration actions.
Everyone should have due process. No one should be just taken away and locked up.
This as the Supreme Court today telling the Trump administration to halt its deportation flights of some detained Venezuelans in Texas, individuals it is claimed are gang members and should be deported under the Alien Enemies Act. Today, Judy Maldonado Rawl driving 6 hours from El Paso to the Bluebonnet detention facility. Her husband, Eduardo Dabuin Rawl, a Venezuelan national, among them.
Why did ICE say that your husband was detained?
Because of his tattoos.
In this video she shared, her husband making a plea hours before his then imminent deportation and denying he is a member of the Tren de Aragua gang, saying we are simply being unjustly judged because of our tattoos. Dabuin Rawl's wife says he came to the country legally in 2023 through a parole program, which the Trump administration has since tried to eliminate. But a federal judge earlier this week temporarily blocked that effort.
Has he been charged?
No, we don't have any charges. He's never been given anything.
NBC News was not able to locate any state or federal criminal records for Dabuin Rawl. On Friday night, he says he was among the Venezuelans heading to an airport at the exact same time a federal judge heard arguments from lawyers trying to stop the men's deportations.
They were told, well, you were lucky you were sent back because you were going to El Salvador, not Venezuela.
Then they turned back to the ICE facility. Several of the detainees, along with Dabuin Rawl, recording via video call their own testimonials to family, arguing they're wrongfully accused and holding up their removal orders. The men's futures, with the Supreme Court's order now even more in question.
Vaughn Hilliard joins us now from the White House. And Vaughn, the Trump administration filed a response to that Supreme Court order.
Jose, the White House is now formally asking the Supreme Court to stop its pause on these would-be deportation flights. And we asked DHS and ICE for more information on Dabuin Rawl's detention, but have not heard back yet. Jose?
Vaughn Hilliard at the White House. Thank you. Breaking news on the war in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a temporary pause in fighting for the Easter holiday. It comes amid new questions over whether or not peace talks to end the war will go forward. Ralph Sanchez reports.
Tonight, in a surprise announcement, Vladimir Putin says he's ordering a 30-hour Easter truce in the war in Ukraine. The brief ceasefire coming one day after President Trump warns the U.S. will walk away from stalled peace negotiations if there isn't progress soon.
We're going to just take a pass, but hopefully we won't have to do that.
President Zelensky tonight saying there's no trust in words coming from Moscow, but that Ukraine is open to U.S. proposals for a 30-day ceasefire. The Kremlin says the fighting will begin again at midnight Sunday, and has so far shown little interest in a comprehensive peace, despite U.S. diplomatic efforts led by Special Envoy Steve Witkoff.
Ambassador Witkoff has had not one, not two, but 3 meetings with Vladimir Putin.
But Zelensky still deeply wary after his disastrous Oval Office meeting in February.
You don't have the cards right now.
Tonight, one glimmer of hope. Russia and Ukraine each releasing around 250 POWs. In the largest swap of the war, wrapped in the flag they fought for, and happy to be home.
Ralph Sanchez joins me now. Ralph, do we have a sense of whether the ceasefire is actually holding?
Jose, Zelensky says Russian artillery fire is continuing along the front line, but he says that if the Russian guns go silent, he'll order his troops to stop shooting also. Jose?
Ralph Sanchez, thank you. Negotiations between the United States and Iran over ending that country's nuclear program are moving on to the next phase. Representatives of both countries met in Rome today for a second round of talks. A U.S. official says the discussions were positive. President Trump has said he will consider all options necessary to keep Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. Both sides are set to meet again next week. Federal authorities are investigating a deadly plane crash in Nebraska. The single-engine plane went down last night in a river west of Omaha. Police say 3 people on board were killed. The identities of the 3 victims have not yet been revealed. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are leading the investigation. Today marks 30 years since the deadliest instance of domestic terrorism in American history, the Oklahoma City bombing. Former President Bill Clinton, who was president when the attack occurred, delivered remarks at an emotional service today to remember the lives lost. Kelly O'Donnell reports.
Oklahoma remembers. Today's milestone, 30 years, marks a generation of resilience.
We are determined not to forget.
Gathering in prayer and reflection. President Clinton pointed to Oklahoma's approach to recovery, service, honor, and kindness, as relevant today.
America needs you, and America needs the Oklahoma standard. And if we all lived by it, we'd be a lot better off.
That fateful day, a truck bomb collapsed much of the Murrah Federal Building, taking 168 lives, 19 of them children. More than 700 injured in the country's worst act of domestic terrorism. These haunting images taken during days of dangerous searches. Victims trapped under concrete and rubble. The rescue of Amy Downs took more than 6 hours.
Are there scars for you today?
Absolutely. I have a deep scar on my leg, I have scars on my body, and I have scars in my heart.
Hope fueled her recovery. That day, Downs was a 28-year-old teller at the Federal Credit Union. This month, she retired as its CEO.
I got my second chance at life. Not everybody had that. I did. And so I have tried for the last 30 years to really honor my promise not to take my life for granted.
Oklahoma's horror changed American life and security measures across the country. The bomber, Army veteran Timothy McVeigh, was motivated by anger against the federal government. At the National Memorial, 3 first responders from Orange County, California, returned to reconnect.
I hope we were able to make a positive impact for them and their families and the generations to come.
It was their duty to recover remains of children who died in the daycare.
It was unreal. So yeah, it just got you.
Trauma they took home.
And literally the day after I got home from this, I couldn't stop emotions. I mean,
it all came out.
It just would come out every time.
At the National Memorial, the passage of years reflected in new generations of family around the chairs that honor each life that was lost and is dearly missed. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, Oklahoma City.
Still ahead tonight, new developments in the deadly mass shooting at Florida State University as the mother of the suspected gunman breaks her silence. Plus, how police are using home doorbell cameras to fight crime. Classes are set to resume this Monday at Florida State University, just 4 days after Thursday's deadly mass shooting on campus. And we're learning more tonight about the 2 people who were killed as the school community tries to come to terms with their grief. Priya Sridhar is in Tallahassee with the latest.
Tonight, the Florida State University campus still in grief as students attempt to make sense of a school shooting that left 2 people dead and 6 others hurt.
I couldn't sleep last night about the fact that, I could have died.
Today, the university's president saying classes will restart on Monday.
We understand that some of you may not be able to return on Monday. It's okay.
Students telling us it's too soon.
I don't want to go back.
I think it's almost like a slap in the face.
Do you feel ready to go back to class?
No. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I don't think I'm prepared to go back to class. How can I go back to class after that? Like next Monday, I have to go back to that same class.
Police have identified 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner as the alleged gunman. Court documents reveal a tumultuous childhood, including a custody battle between Eichner's biological parents. His biological mother telling the New York Times she was bewildered by the shooting, had been against the presence of firearms in his life, and was always concerned about her son's mental health. The 2 victims identified as 45-year-old Tiru Chaba, a husband and father of 2, and Robert Morales, an FSU graduate who worked on campus as a dining coordinator and had previously coached football at a nearby high school. Carlos Cruz and his son Miguel have known Morales for decades.
How do you remember him?
I will always remember him with a smile.
The suspect is still recovering in the hospital after he was shot by police. Authorities say he will be facing first-degree murder charges, but he hasn't been charged just yet. Jose?
Priya Sridhar in Tallahassee, thank you. We're back in a moment with an inside look at the growing number of police departments using doorbell cameras to catch criminals, and the major city that says it's helped decrease crime enormously. In Massachusetts today, reenactments to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the start of the Revolutionary War. The Battle of Lexington and Concord took place on this day in 1775, with a shot heard round the world. Last night, there was a reenactment of Paul Revere's historic ride, warning of the arrival of British troops. Some police departments are using a new tool, those home doorbell cams, to create a crime-fighting camera network. But as Stephen Romo reports, the privacy questions have some critics concerned.
Across the country, crimes are being caught on doorbell and surveillance cameras every day.
You just took your package.
Now, more and more police departments are leaning into this technology, getting homeowners and businesses to share their video with local law enforcement. The goal, to create a network of cameras to fight crime.
We're seeing more frequent apprehensions and faster apprehensions of suspects.
In Washington, D.C., their Camera Connect program and Real-Time Crime Center launched early last year. In that time, they've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime, a 30-year low. And they say the tens of thousands of new camera registrations they've had so far will be an important tool to continue that trend.
This program allows for those that wish to provide information to us to remain anonymous, and it makes it a more of a comfortable interaction rather than having an officer knocking on your door.
Similar programs are in place in jurisdictions coast to coast. And while the rules can vary, it generally works like this. When homeowners register, they can join a list of available cameras that law enforcement can turn to in an investigation. Police can request video from them, and the homeowner can then choose whether to provide that video or not. Businesses that sign up can take it a step further. They can opt in and provide their live surveillance feeds, giving police departments access to their cameras in real time. And while police say they've seen success, privacy advocates have serious concerns about handing over this kind of access.
When you justify surveillance by saying that it's only going to be used against the most violent criminals, what you end up seeing is those technologies become slowly over time an everyday aspect of policing.
Many police departments emphasize these programs are voluntary and designed with privacy and transparency in mind.
We are not passively watching camera feed and watching people live their day-to-day lives.
New uses for the latest technology to help keep us safe. Stephen Romo, NBC News.
When we come back, there's good news tonight about how one community chose to honor this veteran and the big surprise he was not expecting. There's good news tonight. So often the good news doesn't get as much attention as the bad, so every Saturday we highlight the many people who spread joy and love, and these are just some of those stories this week. This isn't just a police escort. It's the sound of coming home for the first time. That's Marine Corps veteran Morgan Strain, and the South Carolina house he's visiting is actually his new home. This sign outside says it all. Home for a hero. And on the street, a hero's welcome.
We realized we got the home before they said anything. And we were a hot mess, cried ourselves into a headache.
Inside, messages of support from his new community. For Morgan's wife, Kemi, it was everything.
I don't even have the words to know that all this love is at the center of our home.
Construction company Lennar Homes and veterans charity Operation Patriot's Fob organized a surprise. But that wasn't Morgan's only surprise.
And OPFOB would like to offer you a job to start our service dog program.
We started crying and didn't stop for hours. I went from living in my Jeep to getting married, and 6 years later, getting a mortgage-free home. Have hope. Don't give up.
In Florida, a reunion this family will never forget. That's Broward County Sheriff's Deputy Andrew Alencar meeting the family he saved. When their vehicle plunged into this canal, he jumped into action, breaking open the window, rescuing Audrey Villeras and her 2-year-old granddaughter, Amika Brown. Weeks later, Audrey, Amika, and their family finally getting the chance to thank him. And this moment was more than just a goal. 12-year-old Mason Madden spent months in recovery at the Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Hospital in Michigan after a tumor was removed from his spinal cord.
1, 2, 3, go!
But he had lots of fans cheering him on, including the Granville varsity hockey team and members of the Grand Rapids Griffins professional hockey team.
Oh, nice shot.
What was it like when you were getting that tap out, when you were leaving the hospital, Mason?
It felt good. It's like you're finally about to leave to go on vacation.
To Mason's parents, Mike and Stephanie, it meant the world. What do you think the bigger messages people are getting out of what was a very special moment for your family?
People have came out of the woodworks and have truly made his time and days and just truly special. Just that little gesture makes the world a difference.
That's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Hallie Jackson will be here tomorrow night. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and good night.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.